The City of Madison is celebrating the 26th annual Bike Week to encourage people to commute or exercise on two wheels. This morning, Madison Mayor Satya Rhodes-Conway presented a mayoral proclamation officially declaring this week as Bike Week in the City of Madison. Mayor Rhodes-Conway says Madison is continually recognized as being one of the most bike-friendly cities in the nation. Madison has 85 miles of bike paths and more than 157 miles of bike lanes, and construction to add to that, including along Atwood Avenue and Olbrich Park, is ongoing. But she says safety is at the forefront of other initiatives like the Vision Zero program.
Too often, those serious injury crashes or fatal crashes involve bicyclists interacting with cars. And so that pain point and increasing safety for bicyclists is one of the primary purposes of Vision Zero, along with protecting pedestrians.
The mayor also highlighted the new pump track at Aldo Leopold Park, which she says encourages a lot of children and teenagers to get out and play. You can find a schedule of Madison's Bike Week events on NBC15.com.